Bang the drum for your money. It's based on the Abraham Hicks teaching, but come back. It'll be here in August. It's a fabulous prosperity workshop. But at any rate, I took the liberty and was inspired to change the talk for this week from whatever it was supposed to be to Kenya kindness. And I did that because I have a story to tell, a personal story to tell from November 17th, from 2017, which is relevant on so many levels today. One is that we're in the middle of a month called In Living Color, which is really in honor of Pride Month, but also addresses the marginalized in our world, people who don't belong, people who are cast out or whatever it might be, which is all great, except I like to make things very, very, very personal, like the man in the mirror. This song was so perfect for today. And it also celebrates men. So, Kenya kindness. Now, some stories deserve to be told. And they deserve to be told because they change us. You know, they have, bless you. Was that the same sneezer or a different sneezer? So, each life has a curriculum. I want to start there. So, part of our understanding here is that bless you. Yes, bless you. Is that our essence, our true self, our spiritual self is birthless and deathless, and that somehow we participate in arriving here, we participate in leaving here, we are here for some period of time, but that in some way there's this unique curriculum for each person's life, not designed by you. A curriculum, you know, it's like what am I here to learn, what am I here to know? And my story has to do with that. So just a teensy background, I was born in 1951. In the 1960s, there was a Cold War. I was raised in a lower middle class family, bordering on poor, and they were afraid of everyone. They were afraid of Russians, they were afraid of black people, they didn't like gay people, they didn't like rich people, they didn't like authority. They really only liked lower middle class white people. So I kind of was raised in an environment of fearfulness of the other, distrust of the other. So my story really has to do with my personal curriculum. And it kind of goes like this. So in 2017, even before 2017, I spent a lot of time in Kenya. And I lived in Nairobi for 3 months, and it became kind of a second home for a few years. And while in Nairobi, I lived with a woman by the name of Reverend Connie Phelps, who was a Science of Mind minister from Canada who went to Kenya to start a center just like this. And I went to visit her, and on the weekend, we decided to do a road trip from Nairobi, which is a very big city like San Francisco, it's a big city, into the Kenya countryside, to a place called the Ark, which was a 3-tiered hotel in the middle of the Aberdare forest, a high level to look down on the animals, a middle level to look out at the animals, and a glassed lower level where you can look at the elephant's feet. It was an extraordinarily magical place. So we leave Nairobi, and to set the scene, Connie had a pink Volkswagen. Now, in Kenya, unlike South Africa, which is kind of equal white and black faces, Kenya is primarily Kenyans. So you just have to understand that you have 2 middle-aged women driving through the Kenya countryside in a pink Volkswagen. It was an amazing sight, and I'm sure led for many, many stories over dinner. It's like, you're not going to believe what I saw today. Connie had Googled the Ark. So we were following Google to get to the Ark, which should have taken us 3 hours. Every turn we made ended up being the wrong turn. So about 4 hours into our trip, we weren't quite sure what to do, but Google gave us one more turn. And so truly we were, the only thing I can equate the Kenya countryside to is Texas. If you've ever driven through Texas, I mean, there is nothing. There wasn't a house because the Kenyans, especially in the outer areas, lived in huts or in villages. And it's green. So there were no gas stations, no policemen, no people, no houses. We're just driving. So we get to a place where Google says, turn here. So we turned there, and we drove for about, I would say, 3/4 of a mile down a road, a dirt road, that inclined, that was only about 1 inch wider than the pink Volkswagen. And it was raining. So we drive for this 3/4 mile, and we get to a dead end. Now, the problem with this dead end is that we couldn't turn around. So we're sitting there pondering what to do, and the landscape around us is like cornfields. So it's very high, and actually as we were driving this 3/4 miles, there were goats tied to the corn stalks that had to run out of the way because, of course, the car is as wide as the road. So we're sitting there, and out of nowhere come 6 black men. 6 Kenyan men came out of the cornfields, looking at 2, they're called Masungas, 2 white women, 2 middle-aged white women in a pink Volkswagen. I was pretty sure I was going to die. I was afraid because we were in the middle of nowhere. Nobody would have ever found us there. And my American, I'm afraid of the other, showed up in full color, right? I was afraid. Now, Connie was not as afraid because she had been living in Nairobi in Kenya for a few years. But nonetheless, it was a tenuous situation. So she's grasping this steering wheel, and I'm just knowing I'm going to die there. You know, we had cameras and cash and whatever. So we're sitting there for a while, and we don't really know what to do. But finally, Connie does the miraculous. She turns this car around. Now, I have to tell you, this poor little pink Volkswagen had scrapes and bumps and bruises and scratched paint, and it took half an hour because she had to go, turn this car around so it was facing back up this 3/4 miles. Can you guys all see this in your minds? We're locked. The doors are locked, the windows are up, and 6 black men are watching her bump and grind their corn. So she finally gets the car turned around, but her tires are a little bald, and it's raining, and it's uphill. So the only thing that happens when she steps on the gas is the tires go and it's like, oh dear, and these men, they're still watching, bewildered. I couldn't read their faces, and I'm sure whatever I read on their faces wasn't true anyway, because I'm over here being ridiculously afraid for my life. Out of the cornfields comes another black man with a woman. And he's kind of roly-poly, kind of big round guy with a twinkle in his eye. And he looks, he looks at us, he looks at the men, they talk to each other in Kenyan. And he comes and he, on the window. So Connie rolls down her window and he goes, "What are you doing here?" In English. Now, I was relieved. It's like, okay, in English. And we go, "Well, we're lost." And he goes, "Obviously." So all of a sudden, so these men were still locked in. These men start trying to move us, right, to help us. So they're tying rope around the bumper and pulling, they're pushing, but the car, it's wet, and the car won't really move. So I'm beginning to relax a little bit because they're clearly not pounding on the windows, right? They're helping, they're trying to help. So all of a sudden, one of them has this brilliant idea to push and put a rock behind the back tire. Now, the push gave him 3 inches, rock. Push again, 3 inches, right? I decide to get out of the car. So I go, "Connie, do you think it's safe for me to get out of the car and help?" She goes, yeah, okay, go. So I get out. The roly-poly guy's wife, or I'm assuming it was his wife, I don't know. We're all pushing and putting the rock, pushing and putting the rock, pushing and putting the rock. Now, this took about 2 hours to get us to a place where we could exit, get off this road back onto the main road, albeit it wasn't a freeway or anything, but. So we blessed them, because we're both ministers, we blessed them, and we gave them every shilling we had, which wasn't really that much, but I myself would have given them everything I had for not killing me. So it didn't really end there. Don't want to do these slides. It didn't really end there. So this is the next thing that happened. We get back out on the road, and we still only have Google, which has been unsuccessful in getting us to the Ark up until this moment. And we're also now, it's late, right? It's supposed to take 3 hours. It took 4, so 6 hours. We're 6 hours into this journey. All of a sudden, Connie's phone rings, and it's the Ark saying, "Are you still coming?" Now, can you imagine yourself renting a Hilton hotel in Miami and being late, and they call you to see if you're still coming? It didn't stop there. So the guy on the other end of the phone says, "Is there anyone around you? Can you see anyone?" And there was like a 10-year-old on a bicycle. And so the guy goes, "Just have him come over here." So the kid comes over, Connie hands him her phone, and they talk for a minute. Obviously, he's wanting to know where we are. And the kid hands the phone back, and the guy says this: "I want you to go a 1/4 mile and turn right. Keep driving. I will call you in 10 minutes. That's what we did. And then he calls again. He goes, "Okay, when you get to the next intersection, turn left, and I'll call you in 10 minutes. He did this for 2 hours. So we get not to the Ark, but it turns out that the mistake we made is we Googled the Ark and not the Aberdare Forest Country Club, because the Ark's in the middle of the forest and they bus you in. If we had Googled the Aberdare Country Club, we would have gotten there probably, but that wasn't my curriculum. I needed this lesson. I needed this experience of the other. So we get to the Aberdare Country Club, and there are 6 other people going to the Ark who have been waiting for us for 5 hours. And they were so happy to see us. Nobody was mad. And we get into the van that takes you to the Ark. And poor Connie, her hands hurt from gripping, the steering wheel like this. So we get there and we drank. Well, we drank. When we were only there for one night, so it was like we got there at 8 o'clock and had to leave at 7 in the morning, but that's okay. So the story really has to do with who we are in relationship to the rest of the world and the people not like us, and the fears we bring, and the biases we bring, and the ridiculousness of it, really. And since then, I've really traveled all over Africa and in the world as well. And I have to tell you, I've really never encountered any mean person, really. Now, there was another incident in Kenya where not a different time, when we went to Connie used to teach a group of students, young students, out in the wilderness as well. And we stayed overnight at a hotel. It's not quite like the Hilton in Miami, but it was a resting place. And we had dinner and spent the night. And the next morning, we get up, and Connie goes, "Where's my purse?" This was before the Ark. And she goes, "Where's my purse?" And we realized that she had left it in the restaurant. Now, in my world, that purse was long gone. Now, I don't think it would have been long gone if I had been in Paris, but I thought it was long gone because we were in Kenya. But we went down to the front desk, whatever, wasn't quite a front desk, but a place to go, and somebody had turned in her purse with everything intact. So the moral of my story really today is that kindness is crucial. Human kindness is, we need to practice it more. It's part of really of our foundational ideas here, is to be caring and compassionate and kind, and kind of in a, it's really kind of what we practice here in the community, is really being that to even the people here in these chairs who aren't like us, who are different, who probably we create some kind of bias from our own upbringing or our own experiences. But the problem with our upbringing and experiences is they block love, right? They block, when you bless something, it's for good, it raises you. When you're kind, kindness comes back to you. It's fundamental to our teaching. So I'm right at the end of my last slide. I missed one in between there. But this beautiful quote by Maya Angelou says, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." And if what happened, I know. No, doesn't matter. What happened is my world got changed by kindness. I was changed, irrevocably altered by the kindness of other people. And it's actually the opportunity we have in each and every day, wherever we are, that you can be the difference. You can alter the course of someone's life purely by how you are with them, by purely an act of kindness. Nobody made these men spend 6 hours rescuing us. I mean, really, out of their way rescuing us. Nobody made somebody return a purse that probably, we're talking, in Kenya, we had a houseboy, like somebody who opened the gate, and he earned $1 a day. So the equivalent of $30 a month. So when somebody finds an American's purse, it's not nothing, right? Because inside of there could be 2 years worth of life or more. So one, I want to, oh yes, there it is. There it is. Sometimes it takes only one act of kindness and caring to change a person's life. So that is our lesson for today. And it also, it's a great opportunity to honor men, to honor the masculine energy that is so vital to our world. Like, could you imagine like 4 little teenage girls trying to push this car up, right? That there was some caretaking and some deep human connection that transcended color, that transcended nationality, that transcended how we look, where we all bonded together to make a terrible situation turn out wonderful. So the invitation this week, as we continue and close our month on In Living Color, is to really look in the mirror and to see where you have fear, to see where you have judgment, to see where you disregard, disrespect, or dismiss people who aren't like you. And to see if we can, as a community, really practice radical kindness as we move into our lives. And the reading today is also beautiful, radical blessing, to wish everyone well. And this doesn't mean wish only some people well, or the people you like, or the people you know, but all people well. Because we live in a spiritual universe which responds to our thoughts, our actions, our words, our intentions, our commitments, all of that. And as we co-create a world that works for everyone, that is what will create that world. And it begins where? Right here with you and me. And so it is. All right, so let's just, I hope you liked my story. I was so reminded. I don't know why this came back to me so strongly this month, but it did. And I've been in gratitude really for these, wondering where these people are and what they're doing, and grateful, that they didn't kill me. Yeah, thank you. All right, so let's just take a breath and pray together. As we pray, we're not praying to some God out there to give us good. We're praying for the good that's already in here. We're praying to remember it. We're praying to align with it. We're praying to live it. We're praying to get our conditioned selves out of the way so that we can be authentic, so that we can be free to love, free to care, free to be kind without fear, knowing that God is everywhere present, in everyone, regardless of who they are or where they are. And so as we turn within to the space and place and dimension within us that is whole, perfect, and complete. We turn within to the dimension within us that can decide to be different, that can commit to being better, that can release the past. That is the power given to us by whatever this thing called God is. It's not a face, it's an energy. It's not a personality, it's a presence. And so when I speak this word for and about each person in this room and within the sound of my voice, I am activating a principle that manifests, a manifesting principle. And so the word I speak for our community on this day is that we release fear, that fear can be released from our bones. Doubt can be released from our bones. Negative expectation can be released. And we can move into being part of a world community. We can move into being open and unafraid and willing to risk it all for love, willing to risk it all for connection and community. And what that does for us is it gets us closer to our true nature. It gets us more God-like. It gets us more into the presence of the Christ as us. It's not Jesus the Christ, it was the presence of divinity within. And so we take on that mantle this week as we move out of here into our world, letting the world be itself, its unique, individualized expression of the divine, just as we are. And we meet and greet that in every person that we cross. And we watch as our life becomes better, as we feel supported and cared for and respected and honored. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the curriculum that is mine. I'm grateful for the curriculum that is yours. And to know that there are no accidents, that we live in a universe that is always conspiring for our greater good. It's a very weird day. Achoo! And so it is.